Nobody expected a feel-good hometown sitcom to carry this much hidden tension. But the truth behind The Andy Griffith Show was far messier than the reruns ever revealed. Ron Howard may have looked like the lucky kid living a dream, but behind the scenes, he was learning lessons about power, personality, and quiet conflict that most viewers never imagined. For a show built on warmth and simplicity, there was one cast member Ron instinctively avoided, and that same presence created a rift so deep even Andy Griffith carried it for years. Andy Griffith was the foundation of the show in every sense. He set the tone on set, playful when the moment allowed it, focused when it mattered. Even as a child, Ron Howard learned to read the room. He noticed who felt safe, who didn't, and when tension filled the air, he wasn't alone. That same tension eventually led to the one falling out, Andy Griffith. Never fully shook. When the series premiered in October of 1960, no one suspected the small-town charm was masking real friction. Over 8 seasons and nearly 250 episodes, the show presented a world of calm and kindness, first in black and white, later in color. Yet as cameras rolled, personalities clashed, tempers flared, and some resentments quietly hardened. The show began as part of The Danny Thomas Show, introducing Andy Griffith as Sheriff Andy Taylor, a widowed father raising young Opie, played by Ron Howard. Andy often said Mayberry felt more like the 1930s than the flashy 1960s, which helped create the timeless comfort fans still crave. With characters like Barney Fife, Aunt Bee, and Opie, the cast appeared inseparable. But behind the porch swings and gentle humor, the atmosphere wasn't always peaceful. Despite that, the show became a massive hit, never falling out of the top ratings. Donuts and Frances Bevier earned major awards. Spin-offs followed, and fans still gather in North Carolina to celebrate a town that never truly existed. While viewers were lost in Mayberry's magic, Ron Howard was already looking ahead. Raised in a showbiz family, with his father Rance Howard acting and directing, and his mother Jean Howard also working as an actress, Ron grew up surrounded by the industry. By age 5, he had already appeared in The Journey, The Twilight Zone, Dennis the Menace, and The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. But everything changed when he became Opie Taylor, a role that defined 8 years of his childhood. Ron later joked that his first day on set was spent worrying about pretending a toy turtle was dead. Andy Griffith guided him gently, setting a tone of calm professionalism that defined the series. The show leaned into old-fashioned Americana, slow days, simple stories, and emotional safety. Donuts Barney Fife delivered constant laughter, while Frances Bevier's Aunt Bee brought warmth and structure. Though the show never won the top comedy Emmy, Knotts and Bevier collected multiple acting awards, cementing its legacy. After The Andy Griffith Show, Ron transitioned seamlessly into Happy Days as Richie Cunningham. His chemistry with Henry Winkler helped turn the series into a cultural landmark. Yet even then, Ron knew acting wasn't his final destination. While still starring on the show, he worked toward directing. His first major opportunity came with Grand Theft Auto in 1977. Carrington with his father through a deal with Roger Corman. That led to Night Shift in 1982 and Splash in 1984, proving his instincts behind the camera were real. But long before awards and box office success, Ron learned how complicated a set could be. Some of the most emotional stories connected to The Andy Griffith Show weren't scripted. They happened quietly between Andy Griffith and Frances Bevier. On screen, they embodied small-town harmony. Off-screen, their relationship was strained. For years, their conflict wasn't explosive. It grew slowly from clashing personalities. Bevier valued privacy and control. Griffith was more open and social. Other cast members noticed the tension. Requests as simple as adjusting blocking could spark resistance. Andy later shared that he once tried to mend things by visiting her unannounced, only to worsen the distance. She guarded her personal space fiercely. Years later, as Frances Bevier faced terminal illness, something changed. She reached out to Andy Griffith and apologized sincerely, acknowledging her own behavior and crediting his leadership. That call closed a chapter they both carried for decades. Frances passed away in 1989 at 86, having spent her final years quietly in North Carolina. Andy Griffith also lived to 86, passing away peacefully at his home in North Carolina, close to the place he loved most. Their reconciliation became a reminder that growth and forgiveness can arrive late, but still matter. While that chapter closed, Ron Howard's own life moved forward with rare stability. His relationship with Cheryl Howard became one of Hollywood's longest-lasting marriages. They met as teenagers, shared a simple first date in a mint green Volkswagen, and married 5 years later. After Ron proposed 3 times, Cheryl insisted on building her own independence first. Together, They raised 4 children, including Bryce and Paige, and built a family grounded more in teamwork than fame. Ron often credits their success to constant communication and growing together rather than apart. For their 50th anniversary, he shared a quiet photo by the ocean, describing their life as calm waters and rough ones navigated side by side. Professionally, Ron Howard achieved something rare. He became more celebrated as a director than as an actor. After early ups and downs, his career transformed with A Beautiful Mind. The film earned him Best Director and Best Picture, cementing his place in Hollywood history. Yet even that success brought criticism over omitted details from John Nash's life. Ron later said the hardest part wasn't the backlash, but how it affected Nash personally. Across decades, Ron Howard built a reputation for calm leadership and low drama. Studios trusted him because he delivered without chaos. Still, he learned never to assume a smile told the whole story. From Mayberry to Hollywood's biggest stages, he saw how appearances could mislead. He doesn't carry bitterness. He carries perspective. From child actor to respected filmmaker, Ron Howard learned when to speak, when to stay silent, and how to protect the truth of a story. And after everything he's witnessed, one lesson remains clear. Characters can fool audiences, but time always reveals the real person behind the role.